And welcome to Hannity, and this is a Fox News alert. An American has been accused of trying to aid the enemy. Now, federal prosecutors indicted this New York man on 3 counts of attempting to provide support for the ISIS terror network, including recruiting fighters for this group. And meanwhile, today, ISIS released a new video earlier this morning warning the U.S. about sending soldiers into Iraq and vowing to kill any ground troops that are deployed to the region. Fox's own Rick Leventhal, he's down in our New York City newsroom. He has all the details. Rick.
Sean, the video is a slick production, 52 seconds long, almost like a movie trailer, showing militants blowing up tanks and images of wounded U.S. soldiers, and a clip of the president saying combat troops won't return to Iraq, ending with text that reads, "Fighting has just begun." It comes at a time of increased concern here in the States about how far a reach ISIS might have. Today, the NYPD put on another show of force in Times Square, using 76 marked patrol cars from every precinct in the city. The commissioner, Bill Bratton, says the department remains on high alert and is quite concerned with the capabilities of ISIS. And while he says there are no specific threats, we're living in a new era of potential terrorism, and ISIS, he says, has mastered social media. In fact, one of the things that led to the arrest of the terror suspect up in Rochester was his Twitter account. A member of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force says 30-year-old convenience store owner Mufid Elfki was posting tweets supporting al-Qaeda, ISIS, and violent jihad. They say he also sent money overseas to try and help an individual fight for ISIS, and tried to recruit at least 2 others, both FBI informants, to travel to Syria and wage violent jihad for the terror group. What initially got him busted was his purchase of 2 handguns with silencers and ammunition that he allegedly wanted to use to kill members of the U.S. military who had just returned from serving in Iraq. Elfke's uncle was suspected but not convicted of being part of a terror network. He's doing time in prison for funneling millions of dollars overseas, and now Elfke could join him. He faces up to life behind bars on the new charges, and he'll be in court in Rochester tomorrow. Sean?
All right, Rick, thank you. And coming up, Mark Levin, the great one, and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, they'll join me to discuss the ISIS terror threat. But first, tonight, 2 years after the Benghazi terror attack that left 4 Americans dead, a House Select Committee held its first public hearing today on the events surrounding that deadly night. Now take a look at some of the, well, highlights or lowlights, depending on your perspective.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I remain convinced that our fellow citizens are entitled to all of the facts about what happened before, during, and after the attacks in Benghazi.
Guys on the ground in Benghazi repeatedly asked for additional security and were repeatedly denied.
Yes, sir, from what we saw. What policy were we pursuing in Libya that was so great that it overcame all of the tripwires and all of the risk?
Not being here at the time, sir, I cannot answer that question for you.
I want some definite time tables so that we can hold somebody accountable. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Why is it that the State Department is clinging to this legacy of power that has failed?
This idea that, we're magically going to get paratroopers coming out of the back of planes and they're going to land on the American embassy isn't realistic.
You were an agent on the ground at Benghazi at the time, Mr. Cobb. Would you have been lobbying for more help to come to Benghazi?
I'd probably be doing more than lobbying. I'd be extremely frustrated and try to push every button I could possibly push.
This is bigger than us. The things that we do today and over the next few months will have lasting effects even when we're gone on to heaven.
Now, while questions still remain unanswered about what happened that night, just yesterday, some Democrats claim that no stand-down order was given to the Benghazi Annex security team. Watch this.
Myths continue to be brought up, and one of the big ones is the whole issue of a stand-down order, which was never given.
Some of these questions that have been repeatedly asked and answered were asked again in the wake of a campaign to promote a new book. Both the House and Senate Intelligence Committees interviewed these 3 contractors, their supervisor, and others on the ground, and concluded that there was no improper stand-down order. To second-guess these decisions made in the fog of battle is both unfair to the brave personnel involved and highly irresponsible.
All right, back with us in studio tonight to respond are 2 members of that Benghazi Annex security team. They risked their lives that night. Mark Geist and Chris Peranto. They co-authored the brand new book, 13 Hours, The Inside Account of What Really Happened in Benghazi. I want to get into this because you have members of Congress that weren't there that are calling you liars, that the stand-down order was never given. Is that true?
No, it's not. I mean, they're trying to
they're lying about you.
They're trying to play on words. No official stand-down. No improper stand-down.
It happened.
I mean,
we were delayed. The words stand-down were given, and we were delayed twice.
The actual words stand-down were given.
John Tig has said that on multiple occasions.
The person that gave them?
Yes. I said that Bob
received it.
Received it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Tig was the one
directly.
that received. I received the 2 weights.
You wouldn't possibly know where it started from.
No, we know from our immediate chain of command, which we say in the book is Bob.
Okay, and would he make that decision on his own when he knows you guys were listening to the communications at the consulate, right?
We were here, yeah. The distress calls, definitely. Oh yeah.
And what finally pushed you over the top to disobey orders? You disobeyed orders.
Yes, we did.
What finally pushed you to that point was you heard over the communications, if you don't get here, we're going to die. True?
Yes. Said that multiple times. Yes, we did.
And you believe that people did die in the 30 minutes, the interim, that you were standing down.
Keep in mind, 30 minutes that we stood down, then it took us another 30 minutes to go on foot just to get there because their defenses were they basically were able to reinforce their defenses. So it cost us 30 minutes just for the stand down, but we don't know how much longer it really cost us because we couldn't drive all the way. We actually had to disembark and go the rest of the way on foot.
You know, there's a lot of things. My kids, if they get in trouble, like every kid, you know, I'm fine with it. I can live with mistakes. All kids are going to make them. But when they lie to me, they're in big trouble. Now, my question is, you're telling us that these politicians that weren't there, and you were there, and you left your safe annex at the time, and you went into the firefight at the time, and you brought back 25 people, which makes, in my mind, you guys are heroes that night, and they're calling you liars. So I want to know, you know, what do you want to do about that? I would be pretty pissed.
I'd like to invite Mr. Schiff to a debate.
Or we could talk, and we can talk.
We can talk about it.
We can discuss it.
He wants to see and say that to my face. We can talk about it and talk about everything.
It's difficult for me because you're calling a Ranger, a SEAL, and 3 Marines liars.
2 of the SEALs died.
Well, then you've got and 2 of the SEALs died, and you also still have the one Jack, the living SEAL. He's still alive. We all testified at some point during the HIPSI. We said the same thing that we're telling you.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to invite all of these Democrats that accused you 2 of lying on this program and see if I would be surprised if they'll say it to your face. Let's see if they have the guts to come on the program, gentlemen. You've accused American heroes of lying. Congressman Smith, Congressman Schiff, they're invited on the program. We're going to make calls first thing tomorrow and see if we get statements from their offices. Sure. Have you been called? I'm watching the hearings today and I'm thinking, all right, I read your book. Your account is so different. You talk about stand-down orders they deny. You said there was no YouTube video connection. You said that there was no spontaneous demonstration, that this was a planned terror attack, right?
That's what it looked like.
Okay. Yeah. But we heard a totally different story. Were the American people lied to, in your opinion?
If it differs from what we said in the book and that same time, same account, I would say yes, they have been.
But you heard almost from the beginning a YouTube video, spontaneous demonstration. I don't know many spontaneous demonstrations where you have RPGs in your pocket, do you?
I would agree.
I haven't seen any. I haven't been in any, and I've been through a lot of demonstrations and a lot of
you don't see them bring those things.
No, doesn't happen.
You know, and I put it to the readers and the listeners out there and the television viewers is read the book. And you'll make your decision based on the information you have and what we say in the book, because we were there, like you said.
And keep in mind, we quit our jobs. We resigned from government work and contracting to do this. So it wasn't that we wanted to sell books or we wanted. It got to us so badly that we actually got together as a team and said, hey, you know what? This story is getting spun way out of control. It's either us standing up and telling the truth, or it's just going to continue down that left side. So when you heard about the YouTube video, when you heard there was no stand-down order, when you heard a spontaneous demonstration, and you were both there, and you say this didn't happen, and you hear it from the president, you hear it from Susan Rice, you hear it from Hillary Clinton, you hear it from, I think, Leon Panetta, they all said it. And so are you guys watching this on TV, and what are you thinking?
I was laying in a bed, hospital bed, just come out of surgery in Germany, and there was a consul general from State Department and his wife right there. They could have asked, and any question they wanted about what happened there and gotten the truth from on the ground.
Why have you never been called to testify?
No, we have. We have gone in front of the House Intel Subcommittee.
Okay.
And we did tell them...
Behind closed doors?
Behind closed doors,
yes.
Why our testimony wasn't part of their findings, or maybe it was and they just decided not to listen to it. I don't know. But we said the same thing to them as we're telling you now on TV as we wrote in the book. It has not changed.
All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to follow up with these congressmen,
okay.
And we're going to hopefully, we'll put you all in the same room,
okay.
And we'll hash this out. Because if they lied about men that were heroes that night, the country needs to know that. And if they want to call you a liar, I think they ought to do it to your face. They ought to have the character to do it to your face.
Would say so.
I'd agree with that 100%. Looking forward to it.
We're okay with that, too. I'm okay with that.
All right. And what you did that night was amazing. You were there when Ty Woods died, too.
Yes, he was right beside me.
Yeah, right beside you. He died right in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, guys, thank you. Good to see you again.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
very much.